Alrighty, welcome back to MCAT Grind. We have Psychology Chapter 8, Social Process, Attitude, and Behavior. Starting off, we have Group Psychology. These are terms that you would need to be familiar with. Social facilitation happens when you are performing in front of a group or in social situations, and easy tasks tend to be performed better, but harder tasks like complex ones are performed not as well. So you can relate that to the Yerkes-Dodson law. The more stimulated and alert you get, more stress, there's an optimum level which you do the best. The individualization is, as a group, you are less self-aware. So you may do things that you don't really agree or in line with, but because you're in a group, you don't realize and aware that you're doing the thing. Bystander effect means that if there are lots of bystanders walking around, you think that another person's going to do the work, so I won't. A famous incident was a tragic about Kitty, and this lady named Kitty was attacked, but all the bystanders, about 30 or so, went by in the hour, did not call 911 and call for help, and ultimately she passed away from injuries. Peer pressure happens when you are amongst people of similar social status, so around your friends or maybe amongst your coworker, and you are giving in due to their influence to engage in a behavior that you normally would not engage in. For example, if all your friends smoke, you would think their influence on you would be doing smoking that you don't necessarily agree with. Group polarization is making extreme decisions based on when you're a group. Individually, you might be hesitant on the decision, saying like, okay, if on my own, I'm only gonna watch 1 hour of movie or TV show. But with a group, you might all be like, oh, let's go and do a marathon 8 hours in a row. Like, yeah. And now you would think that would be okay. Now, groupthink is a little different, and it is, as a group, you tend to only go for one set of thinking and ignore the other sets. So if you only have thinking about this product and say, oh, okay, yeah, this product works really well and there are no adverse effects, and you all agree because you don't want to be left out in a group. You all want to think, yeah, everyone must agree, so I should agree to not mess up this good vibes in a group. Just to agree and go along, even though you have something else to say. So that's groupthink. In groupthink, you may the decision might not go and become more polarized, but you ignore the alternate possibilities. Regarding culture, there are a couple words to know. Assimilation would be the culture coming in is mixed in a melting pot. So what that means is all the culture will then be, let's say, immigrant family comes along and their own traditions gets lost and went into just American foods now. And they lost all their recipe, don't know how to make them anymore, and just goes ahead and eat nothing but American food. And that's a loss of culture. Multiculturalism supports the mosaic model. Think about all the different components, and they all are welcomed. A good example, assimilation would be America, United States, and multiculturalism more of Canada's state. Subculture is the subgroup which refers to the small set of cultures shared by a group of people. It could be a gaming subculture, it could be a music subculture, or a specific sports subculture. Just a group that shares similar interests and similar ideals and goals. Ethnic enclave could slow down assimilation by applying a safe reserve for people to share a place to keep their culture and prevent it from being washed away. Socialization include many terms. In socialization, we have the process of spreading beliefs. So it could be like, oh, have you heard about the news lately? And if not, just passing down and spreading information. Think about memes. In norms, we have acceptable behavior. So a norm could be, don't pick your nose. That's disgusting. So acceptable behavior. Mores are norms that are commonly observed. So be like, clean up after yourself, go to your friend's house without leaving a mess, stuff like that. So they're not the law, but they're socially acceptable behaviors. Folkways are a little bit lighter on the good side. They're just good gestures to do, such as athletes shaking hands after a game, like a good sportsmanship, or giving your date a ride home, for instance. Stigma would be disapproval. So disapproval from the society because of a set of qualities an individual or a group might have. So perhaps someone with a bad mark on the face, so society may think that, oh, that is not really cool to look at, and they may treat it as a stigma and disapprove of those features. A deviance is any violation of norms or rules. So think about deviant. A deviance could mean a person who decides to skateboard on top of a building, and that is very, very dangerous and against rules, I believe. Conformity is amongst a group and you're trying to fit in. Much like groupthink, you want to fit into the group, so you tend to change your behavior to match what the group would rather do. Compliance is heeding request upon others. When others are asking you to do something, you change your behavior to help with them. So for instance, if you have already finished grabbing coffee, someone say, oh, hey, can you grab me a coffee? Since you already got a coffee, there's no real need for you to go in, but you just have to go back and change your behavior to grab another for them. Obedience is heeding orders from a higher up. So think about the grabbing coffee, but instead it's your boss telling you to do it. Attitude. Feelings of attitude basically is your feelings in expressed form. So I'm feeling sad. Well, when I attitude, I would be like, I feel sad towards studying because I am experiencing not that great of a grade. That would be an attitude. In functional theory, all these theories are trying to explain how attitude works and how is it formed. Functional theory explains that attitudes are formed because it helps us with knowledge and ego. For instance, by having a positive attitude towards someone or something and seeing someone with that attitude, you may keep this in mind for next time. Perhaps you see a friend saying, oh, they really don't like chocolate ice cream. Then you would take that and say, okay, next time keep that in mind, I won't get them chocolate ice cream. And also helps you express your ego and defend your ego. For instance, you may do not so well on a math test and then change that to say, okay, I hate math, that's why I did bad, to protect your self-esteem. Learning theory is defining attitude is learned through trial and error. You test this, okay, that's socially acceptable, but another one is not. Elaboration likelihood model discusses that there's two routes to learning attitudes. One is central and another is peripheral. In a central model, you obtain the attitude based on the factual things said by the speaker. So if a presidential candidate is saying that they will outline a set of rules that will help change the climate, that will help with the climate, and they will set good laws, you are hearing the information and using that to help with your judgment. That's the central model. The peripheral model, you don't care about what they say, you just see how presentable they are. You say, oh, they look very cool, they look very nice, then whatever they're saying must be really cool or really good. Peripheral processing is also related to the halo theory, which you will know later, that good people does good things, or bad-looking people does bad things. So you look at them in the face and, oh, this person has a pretty face. They could do no wrong. They must have earned that pretty face, so they must be a good person. In the social cognitive theory of attitude, instead of learning theory, learning to try and error, social cognitive directly observe and replicate it right away. So, for instance, you see someone clean up after themselves. You may not be the one to start doing that, but you see that they get praised for it, so you start doing that and be a good person. So that's all for social processes, attitudes, and behavior. Good luck with the grind.